Hey guys, welcome to Digit.in, and unless you've read the title, if you hadn't read the title and I showed you this phone, it would look like two other Redmi phones and it would be really difficult for you to tell them apart if I held all three of them for you like this. So now that you have read the title and you know that we are reviewing the Redmi Note 6 Pro for you guys, let's get down to the bottom line straight away. Now this phone's performance is very similar to that of the Redmi Note 5 Pro. And well, if you have that device, it makes no sense for you to upgrade to this one. However, if you had to choose one Xiaomi device to take away, we would recommend the Mi A2 simply because at the same price point, it kind of gives you a little better performance. However, if it's a non-Xiaomi smartphone that you want, then the Realme 2 Pro is another candidate which makes a lot of sense at this price point because it can give Xiaomi's devices a run for their money. So now you know that which phone is right for you if this is your price segment and these are the phones that you are looking for. Let's dive deep into the in-depth review to tell you exactly how we came up with this conclusion. Now, honestly, kicking things off with the design, you can go back and watch any of our Xiaomi phone reviews which has a design like this and we would tell you the exact same thing. So we are kind of getting bored that Xiaomi isn't doing something fantastically revolutionary with the design. We can't call this notch anything fantastic or revolutionary. Sure, it has a dual front-facing camera, which we will get to in the camera segment. But when it comes to the overall design of the smartphone, it is exactly what we've come to know and expect from a brand like Xiaomi. It is just as heavy in it and in its dimensions as say the Redmi Note 5 Pro, so nothing has changed out here. It has the dual vertically stacked camera at the back, the fingerprint sensor, the notch, and of course the display. So as far as the design is concerned, you're getting what you already know. Straight off the bat, we'd like to tell you that the Mi A2 has a better display than the Redmi Note 6 Pro. Now, having said that, when you compare this phone to its predecessor, you will realize that it does have a brighter display. But that notch, it does get annoying, especially when you are playing a game. So we're going to show you right now on your screens the fact that we actually played PUBG, and you can see how the game isn't optimized to ignore the notch, give you a little bit of black border, so you have all the controls right there in front of you. It cuts into the game, it gets annoying. Apart from that, the notch works like it does on every other smartphone. We have seen devices like the OnePlus 60 and others embrace a water drop notch, and now we're waiting for that to trickle down to these devices so that we can get rid of this ugliness on top. Now, when it comes to performance, we ran our standard slew of in-lab tests, which are essentially the benchmarks. And as you can see on your screens, we did run a bunch of benchmarks on this device, from Antutu to 3D Mark to GFX Bench to Geekbench and many, many more. However, one thing you will notice is that its performance is consistent with not only its predecessor but other smartphones that are rocking similar hardware. So it isn't going to be a great leap in performance, at least as far as the benchmarks are concerned, with other devices running on the same hardware. Having said that, when it comes to real world usage, we actually face no real world problems with the device. Of course, with MIUI 10, which by the way is based on Android 8 and not Android 9, which can be a bummer for some of you, you do get gesture navigation and of course a lot of MIUI 10 related features. We are going to link to an article in the comment sections below with the features of MIUI 10, so you can check that out in more detail. However, if you are looking for a phone to be your daily driver to give you just absolute utility, then you can get the job done with this one. However, we would like to state that devices like the Mi A2, which offer a more stock Android-like experience, is something that we prefer. But then again, this is something that is up to you. If you prefer stock Android, you know which way to go. If you are okay with what MIUI brings you with its new functionalities, with all the new features that MIUI 10 is bringing to you, then you can of course stick with that. When it comes to the pure performance, and as we will show you a couple of more benchmark comparisons right now, you can see that it gets the job done. Now moving to gaming performance, we played a lot of PUBG on this phone, and you can run most of the heavy games available on the Google Play Store on this device. However, remember that a game like PUBG will cap out at about 25 frames per second, give or take a few here and there. And that may not be the smoothest experience. I mean, to have an actually smooth experience, you would like to be somewhere close to the 30 frames per second mark, but 25 can get the job done. If you are looking for, and by the way, the settings are at medium on this device, and if you are looking for a phone to actually just game on in this price segment, we would actually recommend the Realme 2 Pro. It does perform slightly better than the Redmi Note 6 Pro when it comes to games like PUBG. Okay, so two things to talk about right now. First of all, face unlock, it works, it's fast, it's as fast as you would expect it on a device like this one, and the fingerprint sensor is also there, so unlocking the device is just like magic. Another thing to consider in performance is, of course, the heating issues. Now, we did play a couple of games and used the phone in real-world scenarios, and what we came up with was that the phone doesn't get abnormally hot. There are no excessive temperatures that we came across. However, if there's something that you've heard of, you can let us know in the comment section below, and we will do our best to investigate it. Now, the camera on the smartphone is of course the 12+5 megapixel sensor, and it does bring with it a bunch of new bells and whistles like better depth mode, bokeh effects, a bokeh slider so that you can change the depth of field as per what you'd like. And considering the price point and the images that you get, the photos are quite acceptable. Of course, in low light, the phone does do a decent job up to a certain extent. As the light goes dimmer, you will notice a lot of noise. Let's say around the 1600 ISO mark is where you will start facing a lot of noise and loss of details. But considering the price point, and if you have a well-lit situation, you can get pretty decent photos. Low light, if the low light is acceptable, you can get some good photos, but like we said, as the ISO goes higher, the images get noisier. So one thing to consider is, if camera is of a priority to you and you are on a tight budget, let's say about 15,000-18,000 rupees, then you can always consider the Mi A2. It has a camera that is a little better than the one found on the Redmi Note 6 Pro. If you're someone that was getting about a day and a half worth of usage from the Redmi Note 5 Pro, you are going to get the same battery life from this device. Be it if you're going to watch a bunch of movies, play a bunch of games, do your social networking, use it to make a couple of calls, send a few messages, and you should be fine. Of course, there are aspects that you will need to control to get good battery life. For example, the display. If you keep the display on full brightness for a lot of time during the day, even when it's not meant to be, it's going to consume more battery, so you may want to control the brightness of the display to improve the battery life. There are other tips that we have for you guys to improve battery life, but we will save that for another video. If you guys would like to know about that, let us know in the comment section and we will work on such a video. But yes, having said that, the battery life on this device is pretty good. Xiaomi has created a benchmark with good battery life on the smartphones like the Redmi Note 5 Pro and the Redmi Note 6 Pro, so you can rest assured that the battery life is fine. So to conclude, we'd like to tell you that this is the Redmi Note 5 Pro in a new package with some few tweaks and changes. But here's the catch. This isn't necessarily the best phone at this price point which you can get. And what do I mean by that? Well, if you are okay with Xiaomi's design, you are okay with the design of this phone. We think the notch, it's really time that the notch starts going away. It has a big notch, it'll bother you. Apps like PUBG and certain other apps aren't really optimized to make the most of the notch, so that is going to trouble you as well. The battery life is pretty good. But when it comes to the UI, this phone is running on MIUI. If you're okay with that, then you're okay with the phone. If you aren't okay with that, you can always take a look at a device like the Mi A2, which will give you a stock Android experience. And here's the fun thing. There is actually a device that can give this phone a run for its money, and it is the Realme 2 Pro. So you guys can check our review of that phone out as well before you make your buying decision. And if you'd like to see a more detailed comparison, let us know in the comment section below. We will do that for you. Until then, it is me, Samir, signing off. We will catch you in another video. It's goodbye for now.